Simon from simonwoods.com. Now, a few years ago I did a horrible exercise where I sat myself down and said, right, for the next, I can't remember how long it was, 3 weeks, all I'm going to drink are the top 10 wine brands in the UK. I think I ended up getting 4 wines from each range and tried a glass of 2 different wines each night, so it went on for 20 nights, 3 weeks. The only beam of light was Jacob's Creek, and I don't know what you think of Jacob's Creek. There is actually a place called Jacob's Creek. I drove past it only last week when I was in the Barossa Valley. Anyway, they do a basic range and they do a reserve range, and I've got 6. I think these are all the wines in the reserve range. So let's give them a go. Reserve Riesling 2010, and it says Barossa on here. Now if something just says Barossa on, now the Barossa region is split into 2 parts. There's the Barossa Valley, which is warm, and it's where you get a lot of the beefy Shiraz, and quite on the valley floor. Then you go higher up the slopes, and one particular way you head up east, and you end up in the Eden Valley, which is home to Henschke and a few other people, and it's a bit cooler there, higher, and the Riesling from there can be fabulous. So I've got a feeling that when it says Barossa here, it'll be mostly Eden Valley, but just confuses people, that. Well, it smells fresh, it smells clean, it's got this lively, what I call a slightly dusty minerality. If you imagine dolly mixture, do you remember dolly mixture? And you got that little bit of icing sugar on them. There's something of that slightly, almost sherbet-like character. And then you've got these floral, more citrusy notes. It smells like it's going to be clean and tasty. It's zippy, it's zesty. It's like if you imagine having grilled sardines, it's like a squeeze of lemon, and it would go perfectly with something like that. Just something nice. Think of it not vinegar. Think of it, but like when you put vinegar on your fish and chips. It's got that sappy, zippy zestiness that will cut through things that are on fatty foods. Have some with some prawns. Have some with some prawns straight off a winter barbecue. It's cold outside. Perfect. Really, really nice, fresh, tasty wine. Let's see what this one's like. It's the Reserve Sauvignon. I'll reserve these from the Adelaide Hills. So I was about to pour it into my little spittoon then. I never know whether to do. I've got a Riesling, Chardonnay and Sauvignon. Never know which order to do Riesling and Sauvignon. Thought I'd do it this way around, but hey, I could be wrong. Anyway, Adelaide Hills. Got this slight, what I call a lemon jelly cube character. Smells slightly confected. I mean, Australia is not, Sauvignon is not its forte. There's some bits of it that do it well, but in general, I would head to New Zealand for Sauvignon rather than Australia. The sort of wine that no one's going to find offensive, but no one's going to get really excited about. It's got this core of zestiness, but beyond that it just feels ever so slightly lumpen. Okay, rather than great. The sort of wine that you'd happily finish a glass of, but maybe ask for something else if they offered to pour you another one. I will pour myself another one, and it will be the Chardonnay. And we're still in the Adelaide Hills, but we're a year older, 2009. Dum-ba-dum-bum-bum. Had a cracking Australian Chardonnay the other night. Oak Ridge, can't remember the vintage, 2008. Whoa, I would have put it right in the heart of the Côte de Beaune, but it was tasty wine. Actually, this smells pretty tasty. It's got this honeyed, nutty character. What I call underplayed fruit. The fruit is there, but it's not the main thing. There's more of this what the characters from the élevage. There's this there's a richness. There's a leesy character. This mealy nuttiness and a bit of vanilla from the oak and a bit of smokiness too, but not overwhelming. And everything nicely in balance. Growing on me actually. I might end up preferring it to the Riesling. I think the Riesling wins out. The reason the Riesling wins out, yes, that toastiness was quite subtle on the nose, but when I taste it, there's just maybe too much of that toffied nuttiness and not enough of the fruit shining through. I'll keep an eye on it though, because I wouldn't be surprised if some of that fruit suddenly reasserts itself, well not suddenly, slowly reasserts itself over the next few hours, but for the moment at least, it's one of those it's maybe just playing too much on the oak aging, not oak flavour but oak aging. Let's see if the reds are. I quite like those. Nothing wrong with those as wines at all. Let's see what the reds are like. So we've got Pinot, and then we've got Cabernet and Shiraz, but we're still in the Adelaide Hills with this one. I might give my glass a quick rinse. So Adelaide Hills Pinot, minty. I stick my nose in there and there's a mintiness, and there's a huge debate about whether this mint stroke eucalyptus character comes from. Where is it to do with gum trees in the surrounding vineyards, or around the edge of the vineyards, and when it's warm the oils drift over onto the vines? It's certainly a very plausible theory, but does it? For me, it's a character that a little bit is good, and too much of it and it takes over the wine. And I smell this and I've got a feeling for me it's going to take over the wine. It might be different for some other people, but if I want mint, I'll go and have a chewing gum. I mean, this smells like mint humbugs. It's got that toffied mintiness, or minted toffiness. Yeah, and I find the fruit behind slightly stewed. If the characters there, maybe a bit of red berry, but it's more on that plum. But it's that earthy mintiness that I really don't find very successful at all. Oh well. Sorry, Jacob's Creek, don't like that one. Let's try the Coonawarra Cabernet, which should be more of a banker. What vintage are we on? 2008. But again, mintiness. For me here, there is more behind the mintiness. There's that classic Coonawarra pure cassis character. It's a very different. Sometimes I talk about pure blackcurrant and with chili. Here, the Coonawarra and the Chilean things are quite different. The blackcurrant pastels is for me the Chilean thing, tinged with menthol. Here you've got more of the eucalypt tinged with creme de cassis. It's intense, it's distinctive, got a touch of licorice, again that menthol, blackberry. Do you remember those things called licorice imps? Little black things that I'm sure they came in a little tin. Really reminds me of those. Intense, but do I like it? I'm not sure whether I do. I find sometimes Coonawarra can almost be very intense, but no, slightly monodimensional. There is this huge flavour spike of one particular flavour. What I'd actually prefer is some lesser spikes of more flavours. So instead of like one just peak of licorice impness, so yeah, about 5 or 6 different things going on. So again, distinctive, but not for me great. Final wine. Let's see if we're back to we're back in the Barossa. So again, it could be a bit of Barossa Valley, it could be a bit of Eden Valley, it could be a mix of the two. And it's 2007 Shiraz. Now this is more like it. I can't remember the last time I had a jammy dodger biscuit, but there's a bit of that jammy dodger, and it's like slightly baked jam. Those crusty bits around the outside of a fruit pie or a fruit crumble. And there's an earthiness and a welcome warmth here that maybe was absent from the previous two. Yeah, that's rich, that's rounded, that's nice and friendly, really like a bear hug of a wine. Not extremely complex. I can't, sometimes in the Barossa I find something like an iron-like character coming through in the wines. Don't find too much of that here, but what I do find is really plush, pleasant fruit. I'm not sure whether it's going to last as long as the Riesling. I mean, the Riesling for me is the standout wine here. That's my second favourite. So maybe Jacob's Creek, you should be sticking to Riesling and Shiraz, and the ones in the middle they're okay, but I think the Riesling and the Shiraz do stand out in this range. See you soon.